I've gotta get out of here before it's too late. There at the door like a bag of wolves.
Hello YouTube and you beautiful people of the internet. I'm AT and I'm here with a Master Chief Collection discussion video. Now, if the MCC was considered 6 feet under in terms of player population a few months ago, it's pretty much burrowed deeper than Forerunner lore at this point. Or at least so I thought. Here recently, about 2 weeks to a month ago into the past, I tried to get into an MCC match, and while waiting in multiple lobbies for about 40 minutes or so, I finally entered upon the glorious domain of the CE playlist, in which I found a match relatively quickly. One might use this as evidence to support the claim that the MCC is still broken, or even perhaps that it's dead due to its low player population. Many people, myself included, speculated that the MCC would completely fall off the map once H5 launched, and at that point in which I attempted to get into a match on the Master Chief Collection, it was seeming to be true. It was assumed that the MCC's player population was under or around 30,000 people at best, because Battlefield 4, which was Xbox Live's 10th most played game, had around that many players, whereas the MCC didn't even make that top 10 list. Now, whether or not this is all true, I'm not sure, seeing as to how in all the long and laborious hours of my research, I never found any evidence to prove this. But nonetheless, deductive reasoning is a solid method of reasoning. I would have held by this notion that the MCC was dying for quite some time as well. I mean, look at its launch. I myself was not an early adopter of the game, but I had a friend who was, and the experience for him was trash at best. Whenever we got together, we rarely touched the online multiplayer, if at all, just because of how bad it was. However, that all changed, especially within the year 2015. When I got the game, which was as late as September, I experienced some problems with the matchmaking times, but I think that had to do with the low install base, not because it was broken. Most of the multiplayer bugs seemed to be ironed out, so you could argue that the time that I joined the MCC was best, or one of the best times imaginable. Until today, that is. In denial of what I thought was the dark truth that the MCC was dying, I decided to give it one last go and try to get into an H2A match. And lo and behold, I got into a match in less than 1 minute. This is literally the fastest I've ever gotten into an MCC match, ever. So what changed? Was it my connection? Was it just off the last time I tried to play? Or was it suddenly more on point now? Maybe 343 actually gave the MCC the much needed attention to compensate for the lower player base, or perhaps after the initial patches the game's problems were nearly non-existent all along and I just decided to maybe play at a weird time of day. So many different possibilities, but does any of them really yield the answer as to whether or not the MCC is indeed dead? Well, that depends on your definition of the term dead. If player count alone is what you're looking at, then yeah, you could say it is. The game is dead and has been for a while. But what about those dedicated few thousand players? If they're getting into matches relatively quickly and still grinding out the game, it's anything but dead to them. But what is it to you guys? Are you still having trouble getting into matches, perhaps now more than ever? Or does the experience seem to be more smooth now than it ever was before? I personally have been grinding out Halo 5 too much to consider myself all that dedicated to the MCC, but you know, there's just nothing like good old classic Halo to give us that fix when we need it. So get in the comment box down below and tell me what you guys are thinking. If you want me to do more videos like this in the future, go ahead and drop me a like, and feel free to subscribe at this very moment so you can get updates whenever I release my videos. As always people, I'm AT and I'm out.